Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pretend Problems podcast. I'm Kelsey Cook.
And I'm Kelsey Cook.
Oh my God.
I panicked. I forgot how I started the show.
Well,
I fully panicked.
I know at least one listener is going to be unhappy that it's two of me because we did get a listener email where a listener said she was listening to it with her boyfriend and the episode ended and he went, "Whoa." And she went, "What?" And he goes, "She's a lot." And I was like, probably didn't need to send an email telling me that because that's pretty
I don't need
hurtful.
that. I don't need that. Well, let me break it up here. Let me just tell you who's on my television screen. Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin Costner. I'm watching Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1.
Oh, I don't know anything about it. It does sound like a show you would watch.
Yeah, it's a cowboy show.
Yeah.
I love a cowboy show. I love a cowboy show because here's what happens. There's bad cowboys, and
Hmm.
then there's cowboys that are pretty tough, but
Hmm.
also work for the good of others,
Yeah.
right? It's like we don't have to go kill all the Native Americans. Let's just go yell at the one that stole the thing,
Yeah.
tell him to stop stealing. And everyone else is like, we gotta go get go.
Wait,
And it's
you love a show where people yell at each other about justice? That's fucking crazy. I can't believe it.
wow, I wonder if my screen's gonna break when I slam my computer shut. See, what you don't understand is there have been so many times on this podcast recording it when I'm sitting next to you on the couch that I
Hmm.
want to have a computer to shut so I can be done. And now I have one. Oh my God. I'm being put to the test. Sick of tests.
I know. We're going to talk about your test in a second, but if you're watching on YouTube, or maybe you'll be able to tell just through audio, this is the first time Chad and I have recorded an episode remotely where we're not in the same room. Chad's at the
Yeah.
cabin and I'm
Yeah.
at the house. I just flew home from Spokane and we did not plan well enough. And we realized, oh, fuck, we're not going to be together until a new episode needs to come out. So
Right. I think we
we're
did
on
plan well
Zoom.
enough because we know that there is technology. So I think we planned just fine.
It's true.
Cutting
It's
myself
all the
some slack
same.
lately.
That's nice. Well,
Yep.
can you uh can you give everybody an update because you've been talking for a little while now about potential ADHD stuff and that you had a test and now you've done the test.
Yeah, I have XYZ PDQ. Examine your zipper pretty damn quick. My zipper was down, and so they wouldn't let me go in. So I failed. Here's what happened. I was in a waiting room, and so if you listen to my other podcast, Middle of Somewhere,
Hmm.
please understand that I'm not going to just repeat this entire thing. But there is something you need to know is that for people that didn't hear it, I was in the waiting room for 20 minutes,
Okay.
right? I was waiting there and getting pretty, I don't know, fucking mad that I had to sit there for so long and I had to pee, but that I didn't want to pee
Mm,
because the bathroom was way around the corner in another hallway. And I thought, well, then if she comes out and she's like, well, he's not here, I guess I'll just go to the next appointment. So
yeah.
I'm sitting there just holding in my piss, full kegel, my body's tight. I'm looking at this welcome sign because I'm pretty sure um, that they only do this for children because they're like, someone your age, what the fuck are you doing here? Who cares if you have it? So there's like this sign that's cut out with construction paper, all the letters and numbers and stuff.
Hmm.
And she came out and she goes, "Oh, hi." And I go, "Oh, 20 minutes." I'm like finally out of my trance.
Yeah.
And she goes, "So I see you're looking at this sign. What do you think about it?" And I go, "Well, it's got this, 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 this." And I just look over and she looks at me like, okay, good doctor, you've got it all. Like I'm gonna look up into the corner and solve a medical mystery or some shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
but she gave me a bunch of tests, and I mean, we'll just have to see because it didn't
yeah.
seem like an ADHD test, right?
Okay.
To me, I was putting together blocks to make a certain shape of something. I mean, again, I don't want to just repeat myself what I did on Middle of Somewhere this week, but um, and then it was like story problems and math
Yeah.
and all this shit, but it was normal story problems. It wasn't like if you are in a three-lane highway, if you're in a three-lane highway and you're in the left lane,
Mhm.
How fast the speed limit's 70 miles per hour. The
Mhm.
car in the right lane's going 73. The car in the middle lane's going 74. How fast should you be going to not cause a fucking coronary on, and I do mean coronary by like clogging up the vessels.
Mhm.
How fast do you need to go to pass the car in the middle lane and get the fuck over? That's what it should be. It
You would
should be,
think.
yeah, it should be something like, if you hit the ball into the net 3 times in pickleball,
Yeah.
how long are you going to wait till you slam that fucking thing over the net just to make sure there's not a force field, right? Like
Uh-huh.
if you walk into a building and there's glass doors, I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes I put my hand out. I keep it at normal level because I don't walk in high stepping like a Nazi,
Sure,
but I
sure.
want to make sure that if there's a glass door, that I hit it with my hand and not my face, right?
You really do that.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, at the cabin, look at that is there's a sliding glass door that goes into the sunroom, and there are 3 X's on it. Boop, boop, boop. And that is adult face, child face, dog face. That is so people don't walk through the glass door.
Oh my God. Why have I never asked why those X's are there?
Yeah. What do you think that's like? My, I use those for strikes. Like, hiya, hiya, shin kick. I mean, that's so the dog
Oh
doesn't sprint into the door.
my God.
What did you think the
That's,
X's were for, by the way? Now that,
well, maybe I need to take some sort of test because I'm sure I've noticed them, but there's never been a thought that's gone through my brain to ask why. So I don't know.
I'm going to tell you something, and this is not a judgment on you, but normally it's people's first question.
Well then what's wrong with me? Why didn't
I
I
don't think
think to
there's
be like,
anything wrong with you. Maybe you just are like, here's what I think could be happening.
mhm.
You could see those X's and be like, well, what's this crazy motherfucker getting into now? That's what it could be. And you don't want
I
to
don't
ask
know.
me because you're probably scared to find out my answer. I don't know.
I feel like just the cabin. I mean, you've been doing so many renovations and updates, but like there are a lot of times where there's, little piles of clutter, there's stuff around, there's like
Sure,
projects that are started. And so maybe my brain just filed that under, oh, that's like part of a project that's happening.
sure.
Don't
Yeah.
know. But anyway,
People
yeah.
watching on YouTube are seeing the cabinets in the back and being like, what fucking projects has he started? It's a cabin. So everybody cool your tits.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah, when you were first telling me about the test and what she was having you do, it does sound more like an IQ test and not an ADHD test. But then you were talking about how she was behaving kind of strangely, where she'd be like, "Oh, I need to open this door or I need to do
Yeah.
this," and was telling you things, and you couldn't figure out, okay, is this woman just behaving strangely or is this actually part of the test? And I'm
Yeah.
like, but don't you think if it was part of the test that word would get out? Like, hey, by the way, if you go do an ADHD test, the instructor is going to be like doing weird shit to throw you off.
I don't know. It's ADHD. Maybe they just forget as they leave the building. But yeah, it was like, I can't tell if she's annoying or if she's trying to annoy me to get a
Yeah.
reaction out of me because it happened several different times. Once we were in a groove, she would stop and do something. She would say, like,
Really?
yeah, she would go, is that noise bothering you? And I was like, I don't hear a noise. And then she'd get up and open the door, and then I could hear people talking. And she goes, can you hear that? And I go, oh, yeah, I can hear that now. And then she left the door open. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm just like slowly twiddling I'm doing the thing that I do where I touch my fingertips, right? I
Mm-hmm.
go thumb to index finger, thumb to middle finger, thumb to ring finger, on both of them. And I go back and forth. I'm just like, nope, no need to get mad about this. And so I just play my little stupid hand game.
She's
I
watching you do your hand game and
oh
just
yeah.
writing Rain Man.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, he's rocking back and forth doing his finger touches. Maybe I should get him a spinner like a child and he can cut out some more words from construction paper for the next guest.
Oh man. I'm so curious to know what they're gonna say. because you also shared on Middle of Somewhere that you made the next appointment start late because you got to the end of all these tests and the instructor was like, we've never had somebody get to the end of these without making mistakes like this. So uh, there has to be some sort of IQ thing involved.
I would assume so. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
crazy.
I'm not sure. At one point, she goes, "Who is most, whose name is most synonymous with the theory of relativity?" And I said, Einstein. And she goes, "Is he a relative?" So I'm just kidding. That
Mm,
never happened. No, I'm just kidding. That never happened.
yeah, but even that, your brain is so wild to me that you just all of that you just made up,
Right.
and
But I
it's
will tell you
so
this, that
that's
people are going to be able to
crazy.
rewind. And I had about 4 false starts trying to figure out how to say the sentence. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to be like, it's not that fast. He fucking had 5 tries.
No, I my brain would never do that. That's
Well,
crazy.
because your brain is busy doing other things. Like, I don't know, not fucking this. What I mean, I know it's just your brain is busy being normal.
Uh, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who
I
knows?
mean, well, I also think maybe this is normal now. I mean, I don't know. So
Yeah.
maybe I'm the normal one because
Yeah.
I would like to get a I would like to crunch the numbers on this, even though you'd never really be able to know because some people they're like, oh, I my sunglasses were in my pocket. Oh shit, they're on my head. And people are like, ADHD, ADHD.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's obviously if you're on TikTok for any amount of time, you will see a video, kind of like what you've been talking about on stage, where it's like, do you do this? Like, then you for sure have ADHD. And it's like, well, everybody does some of these things some of the time. Nobody has never
Right.
like not forgotten something or not lost track of time or not run late. Like everybody does that from time to
Yeah.
time. It's like, but is this like a chronic thing? Is this something that's
I
been
saw
happening
one
for a long time?
I saw one that was so crazy. It was like, do you wear a t-shirt in the summer but a sweater in the winter? You might have ADHD. And it's like, I think that's temperature related. I'm almost positive
Yeah.
that's temperature, not brain related.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I guess I just don't understand like what the deal is. But
mm,
also can we discuss on this podcast, people need to learn how to cope. Whatever you have
yeah.
doesn't mean everyone has to bend over backwards for you, right? There are 8 billion people in the world. You are one person.
Yeah.
We're not going to change 8 billion people to fucking make your life better. You're going to need to learn how to cope for the other 8 billion,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
True.
I've talked about this with several people in my life, and it's
Yeah.
just like you can't expect everyone to change what they're doing for one person. This one person is going to have to learn how to deal with it. And whether that ends up being a room covered in plastic and somebody who fucked up, right, on the police force, and the photographer, I'm giving air quotes, the photographer saw it happen, you're in deep shit.
Yeah. Well, what do you, so by the time we record the next episode, you will have had your appointment where they tell you the results.
Yeah.
Is there something you're hoping to hear or anticipating hearing?
No, I just kind of want to know what it's about because I still
Yeah.
don't. I mean, I can talk about all day like, oh, I got to the end of these tests and I felt so good and I really was focused. But also, I don't know if I said this on middle somewhere. I'm sorry that I'm repeating stuff if I have, but I just put handles on the doors in my cabin,
Hmm.
in this cabin where there's sliding pocket doors and I've slammed my hand in it over 20 times.
Yeah.
And I just now figured out to put like grippy handles where you could like a sliding door handle.
Right.
So I don't know what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to get just yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna wait and see because I'm not really convinced I really understand the process.
Yeah, I feel like when I have looked into ADHD, it seems like there are two kinds, if I'm not mistaken, where one is like the hyperactive and one is, I forget what the other one is. But when I read one of them, I don't feel like it doesn't make me think of you, like unable to
You told me
complete a
you always think of
task.
me, but
You
wow.
want me to think of you for this?
Well, you just said I'm always thinking about you, and apparently not.
Oh my God. What is this? That's something.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Anyway. But like not being able to focus or not being able to complete tasks, I don't think of you for those things.
Hmm.
It's more like the emotional mood end is what I feel like you have said you resonate with more.
Sure. Wouldn't it be hilarious if the reason I was so mad at everything is I'm depressed? What if they came back and they're
Yeah.
like, we don't know what it is, but normally when people are mad, it's just because they're sad. I'd be like, oh, fuck, this whole time, even though I don't feel like that either. So
Yeah.
that's the thing, right? It's like you think about all of the stuff that people are dealing with, whether it's depression, anxiety, ADHD, what's the other one? Like you have schizophrenia, you have
Bipolar,
bipolar, you have all these things, you have Amy
yeah.
polar, you have all these things.
Borderline,
And I don't know.
yeah.
It's like also maybe this is just my personality. Sorry, it's shitty. Maybe it comes into it's just like I don't know.
That absolutely is a shirt. That sounds like it's sold at Walmart. Like, it's just my personality. Sorry, it's shitty.
Can't
Like,
sell it at Walmart. It's a god store.
true, true, true. You know what I mean?
Crappy.
Like a sassy shirt for
Yeah,
like a grumpy dad.
right.
Sorry, it's my person. I'm just shitty, but it's just my personality. Sorry. That's there's for sure many versions of that sentiment on a shirt, but
Yeah, I promise you.
yeah. Should we talk about what happened with the parking lot of Whole Foods?
We can, yeah, sure.
Just because I thought it was so, there's like a running thing on Chad's other podcast, Middle of Somewhere, called Chad in Public Moments that we've talked about here on Pretend Problems as well. And you know, I I have a hard time with Chad in public moments. And there was a woman who we went into Whole Foods and a woman had pulled her car up and parked it in the crosswalk at like the edge of the store right in front of the entrance.
Okay, now this is where it's going to get interesting. I hate to interrupt you, but we do have to tell the story completely accurately.
Is what I
So,
said not accurate?
not yet. We had
But
not got, you said we went into Whole
oh
Foods and this woman parked her car, but that's not what happened. We were walking from the parking lot where the lot for parking is where we
my.
were coming from, and a woman parked in the crosswalk, and we had to go around her car to get in the front door. That is what.
Okay.
Okay, so that I do think, in my opinion, this is a very key element because I'm already fucking annoyed that you're gonna park there and now I have to walk around your car to get to the front door. It should be a direct line from where other people, not fucking twat holes, park their car, where normal people do.
Yeah.
We're not self-indulgent. I've never been told I did anything wrong. Your daddy called you princess way too fucking long into your life.
Yeah.
That the people that didn't get that's where we park. We park where the lines are. You have parked in the crosswalk where people cross while walking. See, here's the
Yes.
thing. They're named so appropriately where you don't have to
Yeah.
do much thinking. You just go, I guess we cross here. We cross the street and walk in the crosswalk. And then we
Yes.
park in the lot, the parking lot. And so she did not. And so we had to go around the car. Now I'm going to let you take it away, but that's a very important element on what got my stuff started.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much for entertaining me.
You're welcome. So we're in the store and Chad's fired up, not happy about this woman. Do you already want to say more things?
No, 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 not at
Okay.
all. But now I feel justified in saying like I'm fired up. It's because I had to walk around her car.
Right.
Keep going.
So, because you guys know, Chad loves justice, loves people following the rules. And when people don't, he feels a sense of that somebody needs to tell them that they're being a fucko, and that he is also happy to be the one to do it.
Sure.
Okay, so he's what did you said something initially when we walked in, like kind of like, oh, what the fuck? Like, I can't believe she's like just leaving her car there. That's crazy. And
Mhm.
then I'm kind of like, all right. And I think I said something but like, how is this going to negatively impact your day? Like, how is this affecting you? Trying to
That you
help
had to walk
you.
around a car.
All right, right. Just trying to kind of like let it go, like let go or be dragged. Like this is,
Yeah, you didn't
you
say
know,
that. God, I love that. Let go or be dragged?
that's one of my favorite quotes of all time.
Why is that not tattooed on my body yet?
I don't know.
I love it.
I have a magnet of it somewhere. Maybe it's in a Ziploc bag, but let go or be dragged is, I think, one of the most succinct,
Whoa.
powerful quotes ever.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's another thing I'm going to have to tell myself. It's going to be one of my mantras. Let go or be dragged,
Hmm.
because that's exactly what happens. But as you're dragging, sometimes right before you let go, you yell just a little one thing,
You
just a little something.
just call somebody a cunt. And then you let it go. But right before that, you just
Your
he did
Honor,
not
I
call
would
her
like
that,
the
but
record to reflect. Okay. Okay.
of course, yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to be funny. So he's getting upset. I'm like, okay, can we just buy our groceries and not have there be an ordeal? And you're kind of like, okay. And then we go to another aisle. You whip your head around and you're looking at her. You got eyes on her, watching her shop. And because I think we both thought maybe she just pulled where she pulled in her car to run in
Mhm.
and grab something.
You thought that. I hoped it. I hoped it for
I
humanity's
hoped
sake.
it. You think you hoped it? I fucking hoped it more than anybody
I'm
because I
sure
did
you.
not want anything to happen. I was like, please let this bitch grab a fucking muffin and get out of here. Get
Oh, fuck.
a
Oh,
coconut
God.
water and peace the fuck out. Like just one item and leave.
If she
So
would have gotten a coconut water, that would have been the craziest thing in the world. It's like, I'm not tasting enough cum. I need to go buy it at the store. That's crazy.
Chad thinks coconut water tastes like gum, for those of you who
Oh, would
don't
he
know.
know? Because I've tasted my own cum. Next question.
Wow. Unroastable. He'll roast himself first. Okay, so we're both hoping she's gonna grab one thing and leave. Nope. Chad cranes his neck around the aisle to see her just, as you said, in middle of somewhere, comparison shopping.
She's got one thing in each hand, looking at calories or maybe price,
Yeah,
or maybe she's allergic. I don't know.
she's got a shopping cart. She is taking her time. And so Chad, he will do this thing before he's decided to confront the person sometimes. He will talk loud enough for them to hear, which I'm like, stop. And so he's
Mhm.
like, she's doing comparison shopping. And I'm like, stop, just let it go. And
Yeah.
so then we keep moving, and we check out. And then I'm going to let you finish the story from here.
Okay. You also need to know that um, I think it would be advantageous for both of us if I were able to walk away from Kelsey. She can go to one part of the store, I can go to the other, and I can do my stuff. But when we go into public, she insists on wearing the I'm with stupid t-shirt with an arrow. So I always have to be close to her. Otherwise, someone's going to think it's pointing at them, and then there's going to be a confrontation there. So I'm always right by her side like a little fucking heeled dog because she's got that t-shirt on. So I can't break away. That was all made up. Now, she goes into the self-checkout with an
Mhm.
entire cart full of food,
Yeah.
which, whatever, I don't care. But I promise you that her ability to save time by parking in a crosswalk does not translate to her ability to use a self-checkout machine.
Hmm.
So she's there. She walks by with none of her stuff as we're getting our stuff.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, what's the deal? She goes out to the car. She forgot her wallet, comes back in. I've got all the bags. And I just say, cool parking spot. Nothing crazy. Nothing about how the word crosswalk works or the word parking lot works, nothing. I just go, cool parking spot.
There
And she goes,
was
oh, go ahead.
there was a decent amount of stank on it though. You're saying it very, oh, cool. You were like, cool parking spot.
Oh, okay. I'll say exactly how I said it. Cool parking spot.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
how I said it.
There it
Yeah.
is.
With a little bit of something. Sure. But
Little smoked paprika on it. Just a little, ooh, what's that?
that's how I like my hard-boiled eggs. So yeah. Um, so that is what happened. And then we get in our car,
Right. And she said, thank you. Like she said a little shitty thank you back.
which is, I gotta tell you, kind of awesome.
Yeah.
It's like not missing a beat. It's picking up on I'm not thrilled. And then
Hmm.
she gives me a little, I'm also not thrilled with your shittiness.
Yeah.
So I do like a little bit of a dance. I like a little bit of a tango. A little bit of a verbal salsa.
I know, but let's.
I know you don't. I know, oh, I fucking know you don't because we get in our car and you're like fucking lotus pose. Your hands are up in the air with your three fingers, like you're putting like someone just kicked a field goal, and you're like, okay, and you're like doing deep breathing exercises. And I was just like, from that put you
Mhm.
into deep breathing. Me saying cool parking spot. Now you have to reset. I was like fucking driving home and to the left of me so you couldn't see, texting my fucking therapist like, "Can you believe this shit? Just a reset from cool parking spot." And
Mhm.
um so then I did actually have therapy the next day. Was it the next
Mhm.
day?
Yeah.
And I told my guy, I said, "Hey, here's the deal. I don't fucking get it. In my opinion, there is no reason for cool parking spot to set her off that much because
Mhm.
I even drew a chart for you where it is the intensity scale. And maybe you talked about this with the pickleball thing, but it's like
Yeah.
your way to the left, I was way to the right. I
Hmm.
moved so close to the middle
Yeah.
where now instead of using any vulgar words, using any dad voice, using anything, I'm just like, cool parking spot. And so I've moved way over, and I think you're waiting for the middle to reposition. So we're the same distance away from the middle again, but that's not how the middle works. I've already moved all the way over. You have to come over a little bit. This is what I'm telling my therapist. I'm not telling you this.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, so let me say this instead of you. I was like, she has to move over a little bit. It just doesn't that doesn't work. If I moved all the way over and that's
Hmm.
still not good enough, I mean, what do I have to do? Like, uh, open the girl's door when she comes back to her shittily parked car? I mean, so so I asked him, and he goes, I have a little homework, and I don't know if she'd be willing to do it. And you know what else he says? He goes, I don't really want to give my opinion on this because Kelsey's not here to discuss it.
Hmm.
And so he goes, I would like for you to ask her to do a little homework and find out why. Why does she have to reset after cool parking spot? Instead of you saying she shouldn't have to, how
Yeah.
about you ask her why she did? And I said, ooh, fancy therapist knows stuff, right? Because I'm already mad from telling the story. So um, no, he's great. And then I came out to you. You were out in a little egg chair on the deck, and I
Hmm.
said, if it's okay with you, I'd like you
Hmm.
to think about this. And
Hmm.
then you did,
Hmm.
and tag.
Okay, so I told you that that level of confrontation and it wasn't just the cool
Mhm.
parking spot. We talked about how it's the buildup. It's the entire time we're shopping, it's building and building and building. And so
Right,
I'm getting more and more stressed as
right.
you keep like kind of trying to engage with her passive aggressively, like saying things to me, but loud enough for her to
Mhm.
hear because you kind of want her to hear. And just it's like I don't know how this person's going to react. Obviously, this is she was like a small woman. I'm not necessarily
Well,
expecting her to like
she wasn't a
pull
small
a
woman, and she had on like really tight biker shorts, so I could
yeah.
tell she wasn't packing. I
Yeah,
could
yeah,
tell she
yeah.
wasn't.
I'm not thinking in this particular situation, okay, she's like maybe gonna shoot Chad or something like that. But we've talked about like stuff on the road where like you just don't know what people are capable of. And so I don't think I would have been in that place of like, oh, I feel like I need to kind of like take a deep breath and calm down. If it had just been like, we saw her, you said that one thing, that was
Uh-huh.
it. It was like this build
Right.
where
And
it was stressing me out.
yeah, and I told you that I understand how the build could stress you out
Hmm.
because at every level of it, you don't know when I'm going to just break away from you and go say something. Now,
Yeah.
so for you, it was a build, right? Everything I
Hmm.
was saying was a build. For me, I was using those things to try to recruit you to my side. I wanted you to go, I know, what a fucking idiot, or
Yeah.
something. I wonder, and I don't know if this would happen, but I do wonder if instead of you saying, just let it go, just let it go, if you would just say, I know, what a fucking idiot, then I could go, okay, great.
Mm. Yeah, you
Because
feel
now I
like you
feel
need
like
to
now
connect.
now I feel like I'm against her, and now you and I are a little against one another. I just
Mm.
need a teammate, right? I'm a big
Okay.
individual sports guy because I don't like
Mhm.
letting others down, but I just need a teammate once in a while.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think I was trying to figure out I think I was just still trying to gather information about like
Sure.
what what she was doing and stuff. So I hadn't formed a really strong opinion yet. And that's why I was kind of just trying to be like, let's just let this go. This isn't like a life or death thing. We're never going to see this lady again. You saying something is likely not going to make her a completely different human being. It's
Of course.
possible, but like
Of course.
just a lot of, you know, it's a lot of weight that you put on yourself every day to like
Wow, that's fucked
fix.
up.
Oh my God, I knew it. As soon as I said the word wait, I was like, he's gonna find a way to turn this into something completely different than
No,
what I'm talking about.
not when you said the word weight. It was when you used the phrase, find a way to put a lot of weight on yourself every day. Obviously, just having fun with that. But
Mhm.
I do wonder if you were to just be on my side on that stuff, if I would just, then I'd be like,
If
all
it'd be
right, great.
enough.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm sure we will have another situation
That's the
because
great thing about me, Kelsey, right? I'm always willing to help others learn.
that's the most like toxically positive way to spin that.
Of course it is. That's why I
Oh,
said it.
I know. It's so funny. I love it. I am always willing to help others improve and
Yeah,
be better
listen,
people.
if I have to be a cocksucker in public so you can figure out if being on my team helps me, then I will do it. God.
Fine. I love when Olivia's like, ah, fine, twist my arm, I guess.
Yeah.
So funny. Um,
What
yeah,
what
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what were some of the other reasons
Yeah, I was
that
gonna
that
tell
set
you.
you off? Okay.
I say on the show over and over how my mom is like the kindest, most warm, compassionate person I've ever known. But my mom also, it's like her name's not Karen, but it very well could have been. She has always been one of the first people to make it known in public if she's not happy about the way something's going. So my whole life growing up, if we were like in the grocery store or a department store and she saw a parent treating their child a way she didn't like, she would go like say something to them.
Hmm.
So if she felt like somebody was being too much of a disciplinarian or she had no problem inserting herself into other people's business for the sake of like basically being a Robin Hood. Like I want to make sure that everybody's being treated the way they're supposed to be treated. Yes,
Yeah.
Chad.
Well, I don't even have a question. She just sounds fucking amazing.
She is. Yes.
Mhm.
So, but obviously those intentions are amazing. But my brother and I both are the least confrontational people we know because we grew up being embarrassed a lot of my mom inserting herself and getting into, sometimes little like verbal altercations. And it was a thing where it's like, it does make you feel kind of unsafe because it's not that you don't trust your mom, it's that you don't trust who these strangers are that she's confronting out of nowhere. We don't know what
Right.
they're going to do. And so things like that. Also, things that are so like wild and silly, where we went to the Cheesecake Factory at one point and my mom got a Caesar salad and my mom sent the Caesar salad back because she said it burned her tongue. Have you heard a wider sentence? A more Caucasian, I can't have this Caesar salad because it's too spicy. And the waiter was just like, yeah, it's a Caesar salad. Like maybe it's like black pepper in it. And she's like, I can't, my tongue is burning. Whatever's in this is crazy. This shouldn't be like everything with my mom the end of the conversation would turn into like, I'm gonna sue. Like that's like, it would always get to a point of
Really?
like, yeah, I mean, probably not the Cheesecake Factory situation, but like anything with customer service if my mom felt like she was wronged in any way, it always was like, I will see you in court. Like that's where things would go. Like that's where she
Holy
would take it
fuck.
to.
Interesting. I've never,
So
that is embarrassing. I've never said that.
yeah.
That's one thing you
So
can count on. I'm never going to throw a lawsuit at somebody.
oh yeah, my mom was always really like that was a pretty common thing. And
I
so I grew
love
up
that.
being in the house, hearing her on the phone with customer service people, hearing that, and it's just like you're like, Mom, stop. And she would do things with like my sports coaches growing up if she didn't like how they were doing something. Anyway, I have a very knee-jerk reaction to people in my life being confrontational for
Well,
a multitude of
you do a
reasons.
great job of hiding it. It doesn't
Yeah, yeah,
show.
yeah, I know. Now you're being so exaggerating. I was not like that. I was like, ugh. I did one deep breath, and you were like, from that, like that's what made you have to take a deep breath?
Yeah.
Because again, to you,
That
that's
is a
nothing.
one. It's a level one.
Right, right. Yeah.
It's interesting because your mom did that and my mom also did stuff like that, but
Hmm.
that's where I got it because I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, you should be asking that question.
Yeah.
And you, it embarrassed you and your brother.
Yeah.
But to me, I was kind of like, that's my mom and that's how I'm going to be.
Yeah. It kind of depends. I was in New York City years ago and there was a pet store and the pets pet stores should all be fucking outlawed, but the pets looked really sick and the guy working the counter, it's too long a story to tell, but anyway, I like got pretty involved trying to get that place shut down because then you would like look it up and read the reviews and all these people like, yeah, we bought a puppy and it died the next day. We bought a kitten, it died the next day
Whoa,
because
what
they
the
were just
fuck?
like these are pet stores that were just directly, getting their animals from puppy mills and like making those places profit. And anyway, just like Yelp reviews where they said, oh yeah, I overheard the guy say, oh, this one's sick, just throw it outside. Like horrible, horrible shit of so I get very fired up about stuff like that. And I do feel like that's my mom and me of if you see something that's fucked up, say something, but it has to be like fucked up.
Like,
Getting across.
like blocking the only area that wheelchairs can go through to get into a store, something like that.
There technically was another ramp to the side, but yeah, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. But I don't know.
I do understand where you're coming from. I could see how
Yeah.
that would be. I mean, my daughter Olivia has gone to the car and reclined the seat so no one can tell she's in the car because I've had some doozies.
Yeah.
But also, people got to get their mind right.
Yeah, I remember this is in the middle somewhere years ago. You told a story, and this I think was during COVID, where a guy was coughing in a coffee shop or something, and you put him in a headlock and walked him out.
Never.
Well, what's the story I'm talking about? You
I,
like
I would
you
never do anything like that.
you what am
You just said I'm a crazy person. I'm not going to admit to old stories.
I well, this is the thing is like when you're like, "Oh my God, that made you take a deep breath." You've told funny stories for years about like stuff like that. So when I see you getting upset with somebody in public, I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't think that's fair because you need to react to Chad right now.
Okay.
You shouldn't get to bring all the stuff, all the stories you've heard from my entire past. You can't
Yeah.
bring them barreling back to a fucking
Yeah.
Whole Foods. That doesn't seem fair,
That's
right?
true. That's true. I agree. Yep. So it's a lot of it is my growing up seeing stuff like that. And
Yep. And I get it. Yeah, we've talked about this before with the fucking toaster that got mad or whatever. Um,
yeah.
that I come from a yelly house.
Yeah, the AC unit in Brave Little Toaster.
Well, yeah, something happened.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just laughing at
Uh,
how insane that is that like I mean that scared the fuck out of me. And to you, you're like, "Oh, okay. I
that's how
get
my
it
parents
now."
said good morning to us. So that's how my day started from, I'm gonna say
Uh,
third to eighth grade. I don't know.
oh, fuck.
Except summers, we slept in to just not get yelled at. So it was like, um, I mean, when my mom yelled at me, I had it coming. That's for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, but just different things, different experiences kind of lead us to what we are comfortable with and what we're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
And that leads us to our first question. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. It just sounded like a real daytime talk moment.
Yes, I was gonna be like, wow, what a Today Show transition. That sounded so
Mhm.
professional. I mean, I was gonna like share some of my stuff from Spokane, but we've already been going for a while now. I guess we can just save that for another episode.
Sure, yeah, because I think people would love to hear about it. I've heard about it and it's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll share that on the next episode. Do you want to do the middle segment or do you want to get into questions?
We could do middle.
Okay, great. So you had mentioned this on the previous episode. You said, oh, we should do if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Yeah.
So what would your superpower be?
Mine would be John Coffey. I know you haven't seen Green Mile, but
Yeah.
he had the ability to take people's illness and pain away. I
Mm,
would do that. I would do that one.
I
But the
love
problem is,
that.
I don't know how long. I mean, listen, spoiler alert. I don't know how many you have in you when you have that superpower, but I think I would like to have that superpower.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Mine, I feel like is in the same vein. I had a couple pop up that are kind of both similar. One, it's like I wish I could eradicate assholes, but in the way of
Whoa,
like
whoa. Are you breaking up with me?
But so there's another quote I love that's hurt people, right?
Sure.
And so more just like I wish I could take people's pain away that made them evil people or made them assholes
Mm,
because I don't know. There's nature versus nurture. Some people maybe are just straight up evil and assholes without there having been bad things that have happened to them. But
yep.
I think a lot of people end up becoming, really jaded or mean or whatever because of hard things that have happened to them. And so it's like I wish I could fix that. And I also wish that I could constantly remove there any being any sort of like animal abuse or abusing children, anything like that. I just that stuff.
If
I,
you could
I
only pick one, would you let animals be abused or children be? I'm just kidding.
shut your face.
Oh my God. When you said hurt people, have you ever heard the sentence buffalo, 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 buffalo?
I have not actually. Just surprising because it sounds like a really profound, popular quote.
You can say buffalo 7 times and it's an actual sentence.
Oh, yeah, actually,
Yeah.
because that's a verb as well.
It's a verb and it's a place.
Buffalo,
So
buff.
it's an attributive noun acting as
Okay.
an adjective. So, Blaze, Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
It's a verb to buffalo, meaning to bully, harass, or intimidate.
Okay.
And it's a noun, true buffalo, and or the American bison. Sounds like a Z, not a bison, like some
Like how
freaks.
I say.
Yeah, but like a Buffalonian bison,
Mm-hmm.
that other Buffalonian bison bully also bully Buffalonian bison.
My brain is leaking out of my
Buffalo,
ears.
buffalo, 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 buffalo.
What the fuck? That's
Hurt
crazy.
people, hurt people, hurt people, hurt people, hurt people, hurt people, hurt people.
Very true.
I love your superpowers. It was
Thanks.
interesting. I think a lot of people say fly or invisibility, and it's like, I don't know. Why don't you use it for good, you fucking freaks?
Yeah, obviously to be able to fly would be cool too, but the other thing definitely feels more meaningful. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think I need to fly to go tell a child he's still being abused.
Yeah.
I could just call him.
Yeah. Should we do our tour dates and then get into questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so my fall tour kicks off next week. I am in Timonium, which is in the Baltimore area, and then I'm in Fort Collins. Then I'm in Omaha and Phoenix, and then Providence and Dania Beach, and Austin and San Antonio. So you can get tickets at kelseycook.com. How about you?
I am in Spokane and Tampa, Madison, Wisconsin, Columbus, Ohio, Denver, Colorado, maybe you've heard of it, San Francisco, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas.
Oh yeah. ChadDaniels.com
/tour.
/tour.
Just to skip
Okay.
a step.
Yeah. So it's pretendproblemspodcast@gmail.com if you'd like to write into us. We always would love to hear what you have to say about like the topics we're covering. If you want to write in and ask for advice, that's like some of our
Hmm.
favorite
Hmm.
emails because we love to try to help in any way. So whether it's like relationship advice, something you're struggling with just yourself, whatever, write into us. So um, this first email, the title is so epic. It says, Red Bull makes your cum taste like Red Bull. So this is obviously an update from our most recent episode where we talked about pineapple and all that. They say, Hello, Kelsey and Chad. My wife and I are huge fans of your comedy. Our exposure to both of you started with Chad a while back, and recently we have gotten to love Kelsey's comedy too. Thank you.
Heck yeah.
My wife used to be a server at Acme Comedy Club about 15 years ago and would always geek
Whoa.
out on the evenings she worked when Chad was performing. However, she would try to relay to me the favorite jokes she heard him say and would completely butcher them. But after seeing Chad perform a few times since and including the March show at the Fitzgerald, I have really enjoyed hearing him firsthand. I've listened to all the Pretend Problems episodes and have been wanting to write in and finally got inspired during the motorboating therapy episode when you guys were talking about how consuming pineapple could make a guy's cum taste sweeter. I have not experimented with that, so I can't add anything to the convo. What I will share is that many, many years ago, I was out at a bar with an old girlfriend, and my drinks of choice that evening were Red Bull vodkas and about six of them. Oof.
Good for you.
Oh man. The next morning, one thing led to another, and my girlfriend performed oral on me. After the job was complete, she told me that my stuff had a strong essence of Red Bull in it. Oh my God. And then they say, yucky! Exclamation point. I just picture putting a Mr. Yuck sticker on your dick. But it happened, and I think the world should know about this. That stuff doesn't just give you wings, apparently. Feel free to share my name if you read this one on the podcast. My wife does listen to all these episodes too, but is she really going to say, Hey, honey, did your cum ever taste like Red Bull? I bet no way that happens. Thank you, Joe.
Hey, Joe. Number one, I bet yes way that happens.
Yeah.
And also, I've had Red Bull vodka before, and after four of them, I start stirring them with my dick. So maybe it was just that. Maybe it was the outer layer that tasted like it. I have no idea.
Uh, okay, this next one is titled Finding My Vertebrae. Heyo. They say, Hi, Kelsey and Chad. I will be having back surgery to repair a herniated disc on Wednesday, which means I will have to take a step back from doing stand-up while I recover. In addition, I'm wondering how this will affect dating life. I'm reaching an age where not only am I getting more intentional and serious with dating, but the women I talk to are as well. What advice do you have about navigating dating and recovering from an operation that will likely limit my mobility for the foreseeable future? Thank you for the many, many years of support and laughs. Oh, thank you. I won't say your name in case you don't want us to say because you didn't specify. Um, do you want to try and speak to this at all because you've had your hip surgery and you're about to have another one?
I just think you have to do the rehab and you have to ask them the maximum amount of rehab you can do. So if they say, do this twice a day, go, can I do it four times a day without hurting myself? And if they say yes,
Mm,
do it four times a day. Because
yeah.
all the old guys in the hip hospital would grab me by the shirt as I walked by. I'm not even kidding you. Fucking grab onto me and go, do the PT, kid. You got to do the PT because a lot of them were back in there because their muscles had atrophied. And if your muscles atrophy, they can't pull this new hip around because it's not.
Oh,
And so you have to do your PT. As far as a back surgery goes, I don't know how long that takes to heal. I would say maybe heal before you start dating. That's a tough ask to be like,
yeah.
I mean, I try to think of, I think the kind of person that would go, I would love to come over and help you after you get your back surgery, even though that'll officially be our first date, is the same kind of person that marries a prisoner. They just, there's something a little off. They're just a little too helpful, and eventually you're gonna get fucking murdered in your sleep. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel. I don't know, but again, I don't know if you want to be sitting there for 2 years without dating, but I would say text messaging, I would say FaceTiming. You have a lot of options to get to know these women and actually be intentional with your conversations
Yeah.
over the phone, via text, FaceTime, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you can really get to know them. So then, whatever, on that, you know, first date or whatever it would be called, yeah, you know them.
Yeah. And I think it can be really endearing to be super, transparent about what you're going through, not just that you are about to have the surgery or that you've already had it once you're talking to somebody, but that you are nervous about dating with this and having limited mobility. And, I think that people can really sympathize with that. So maybe try to be as open about it as you can. And who knows? Like maybe you'll meet somebody who also has mobility issues and they're like, fucking great. I also don't like to hike. Like, maybe you'll find your perfect match for it. So yeah, keep us posted. And we hope it goes great. So this next one is titled LASIK. And I just have to say, thank you so much. We got so many emails from you guys who have had LASIK surgery, and
Hmm.
they were overwhelmingly positive. I'm talking 99% positive and sound really life-changing, and it makes me very excited to look into it. So thank you for everybody who took time to write in. I wanted to read this particular email because it said things that some of the other ones didn't share, and I just think it's interesting to know for other people who are maybe considering LASIK and don't know that much about it. So they said, Hey, Kelsey, heard you were thinking about getting LASIK on the pod and wanted some feedback. I had done mine a few years ago during COVID. I think overall, I'm happy with the outcome. However, there are some things that I find not a lot of people talk about or prepare you for. First, I'm not an anxious person. I don't have a fear of the doctor or surgery. I've had a few in my life with no issue. This was different. You take a Xanax before the appointment to make sure you're calm. I don't know that it did anything. I almost had a full-blown panic attack. If it wasn't for the nurse who came over and held my arm, I would have lost it. It was traumatic. You're awake the whole time. You can't feel pain, but you feel immense, in all caps, pressure on your eye. So much pressure that your vision goes dark. You can smell the laser, unpleasant. Second, afterwards, you're in quite a bit of pain that isn't like any you can really describe. It feels like you've held your eyes open under a chlorinated pool for a few days, just intense burning. Your eyes won't stop watering for hours. You have to sleep with goggles on for the first couple of weeks because nothing can touch or put pressure on your eyes. The goggles were uncomfortable and getting sleep was tough, especially as a stomach sleeper. Once you're on the road to healing, you will have intense dry eyes for a while and maybe forever. That part freaks me out. They say that is one of the side effects that isn't really talked about. You have to use artificial tears for months after, and there is a distinct possibility that you could need them forever. They say it's supposed to be about 3 months. Mine lasted almost 6, and I was getting nervous about long-term damage. My sister-in-law needed drops consistently for over a year and still has to use them periodically. Another side effect that isn't mentioned too often unless you ask is haloing. Your vision at night will be strange. All lights have a strange halo around them. What you're actually seeing is the scar from the incision. They've gotten better about making the circular cut bigger so it's not in most people's pupil/field of view, but if you have larger pupils like I do, you will see it. Not the end of the world, but is definitely weird and takes some getting used to, especially if it's a surprise. Third, the good bit. Not putting on glasses or contacts is incredible. Being able to toss on sunglasses or go swimming and be able to see is awesome. I love the outcome, but getting there was rough and scary. My vision turned out better than anticipated at 2015, but keep in mind their goal is not to get perfect vision. Their goal is to get better vision. You may still end up needing glasses afterward. Lastly, LASIK isn't permanent. Your eyes are constantly changing and will likely deteriorate again. They anticipate having to redo the surgery every 10 years or so. I hope this is helpful. I don't mean to scare you or focus on the bad parts. Knowing what I know now, I would still probably do it again to get the same outcome. Sorry for the novel. And then Riley, I think I can say your name. Um, Riley, thank you so much. I find all of this fascinating. I think it's really good to know everything before you go into it.
Sure.
What do you think about it?
Well, I have two things. Number
Okay.
one, when you're getting a major surgery on a part of your body that is that important, maybe don't get a Groupon to Honduras with your sister-in-law. Secondly, I've never heard of that kind of outcome where both of them had dry eyes for that long. Uh,
Really?
uh-uh.
Oh,
And I've
interesting.
known a lot of people that have LASIK, but and then also stop sleeping on your stomach, Riley. The fuck? It's like the worst position to sleep in.
Yeah.
I know it's not about that, but that did stick out to
Those
me.
are the things
I
that
don't really
bother me.
know. I have good vision. As some of you know, I've had to have readers
Mhm.
recently, but as far as like I can't see a receipt in a dark restaurant, but I can see a golf ball land 310 yards away. Yeah, you heard me. 310 yards.
God damn. Crazy.
Well, it's mostly golfing with other people. I have to watch them.
I watch you smash it. You hit it fucking hard. It's crazy.
Talking about golf?
I don't know.
Okay.
Everybody's puking now. Okay,
Next
so
question.
I will say
We've been away from each
with
other for a while. Isn't that?
it always ends up gross at some point. So I also appreciate you talking about that sort of a surgery for most people is traumatic because it's like even if it's quick and maybe not painful, our fucking lizard brain, our deep survival brain, when something is cutting your eye open, everything in your body is like, this has to be stopped. Like, why is this happening? Why am I blind right now? Why is there a laser cutting my eye open? And yeah, I agree. That's why I've been telling myself like I need to give it some time before I do this, even if it all goes smoothly and is great. It just is a lot to put your nervous system through, and I just did it with my tongue.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about that, you're not really like an anxious person. You don't feel like you have panic attacks. You're not afraid of the doctor. I'm also not afraid of the doctor. But when I had her first, like that, for what?
You sure aren't afraid of the doctor. You go to about 75 different doctors.
I know. I love a
You
doctor.
sure do.
I like improving. I like wanting to feel my best. Anyway, I know. My dad thinks I'm a fucking witch. Oh my, I'm doing MNRI and craniosacral. My dad's always just like, okay, okay, crazy. And then he'll be
Yeah,
like, so what does it do? And I'm like, I can't explain it. You look it up. I'm like, I don't know how to scientifically explain the shit, but
we've looked it up on a couple FaceTimes.
oh, okay, yeah,
Him and I talk quite a bit about it.
I'm sure. Anyway, when I'm the my frenulum or whatever, but that part of my tongue, when it got all numbed up, I couldn't feel necessarily the pain of her cutting that part of my tongue out, but I could feel the pressure and I felt my heart rate fucking explode when she cut that initial big chunk out because
Mhm.
it's like, even though I couldn't feel the pain, my body knew we're losing part of our tongue, which is that's like a medieval torture. It's like you cut somebody's tongue out.
Right.
Your tongue is such an important thing, and so it's just all of that's really interesting to me that these aren't like light surgeries. Even if you're like, oh yeah, I got LASIK and I was like was great later the day, it's still a lot to put your mind and body through, I think.
I think before you go in there, you should get coordinates
Hmm.
of like a Libyan town or something and start screaming it like you know where a leader of a Hezbollah is or something. I'd love that quite a bit. Just as soon as they start cutting your eyeball, you just start screaming coordinates. I
We
swear it's where he is. I swear it's where he is.
That's so fucking funny. Yeah, we just
And
watched.
before you write in and say that the leader of Hezbollah wouldn't be in Libya, he's hiding. So fucking don't you dare. Libya's a hiding spot.
Sure. Yeah. We
Sorry.
y
Still thinking about
y
that lady that parked.
you and I just watched Dune, Dune 1 and Dune 2.
Hmm.
And that I also feel like you could mid-surgery start speaking in the crazy tongues and just act
Yeah.
possessed like you're tapping into something from another world. Okay, we'll do one more. This
Okay.
is titled Other People's Problems. They say, hey, y'all. First, my good friend Kay Lane introduced me to Chad's comedy ages ago, and my husband and I loved him instantly. When I found out you two were together, I about lost it. Love you two together and love this podcast.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you. I admire your relationship and all the hard work put into it. Marriage/relationships are so hard. It takes work to live and grow together. My husband and I had a real awakening a few years ago. We've been together since high school. We're in our 40s now, and I think we forgot how to love each other. Without boring you with the details, I left for a while, demanded some things, some reasonable, some ridiculous, and he knocked it out of the park. He got a therapist for him and us, and she really helped us remember the root of what we are, and now we are better than ever. We still see her together and see therapists alone as well. Turns out I'm not perfect, in parentheses, and I'm so happy. The falling apart hurt, but I think it made us better in the end. My question is this: how do you deal with other friends who come to you with their marital or mental issues after you've done the work? I get so tired of telling people to go to therapy, them saying, yes, I need to call, and then not calling, being miserable, and not taking the wheel of their own life. It gets really frustrating and short of just losing it and potentially wrecking a relationship. I'm wondering if you have ever encountered this and have any sound advice. Thank you for all the laughs and just genuinely being radical. Y'all make life better. The emotional ninja. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. That's really
That's
sweet.
great.
Yeah. I know that you and I both have people in our lives who are like the person she just described,
Yep.
where it's like they've got problems that they're dealing with. They come to us for advice. We're like, have you tried therapy? They're like, ah, yeah, I need to do that. I really should. And then they don't. And it's kind of a cycle. And I completely understand your frustration. I have felt, you know, frustrated is maybe like too strong of a word for the person in my life I'm thinking of with this, but you're just like, oh, I just want the best for you.
Hmm.
Like this would only make you feel better. But the thing that has helped me is to remember that therapy for a lot of people is like one of the most terrifying things they can do. So what might feel somewhat comfortable for you, for other people is like public speaking. It's like they would rather die than
Mhm.
have to do it. And some people don't grow up in environments where you talk about your feelings, where that's a muscle that you've used a lot. And the thought of having a stranger be like, okay, so what's going on? And you being comfortable taking up that space, for a lot of people, that's just like really the last thing they want to do. So, does that make it any easier for you when they might keep coming to you for the same things? No, but I try to just have as much empathy as I can and be like, I don't try to feel honored that like they are coming to you, that you are somebody they feel comfortable talking to, because sometimes it is really scary. So that's what I try to focus on because ultimately you cannot make somebody go to therapy.
Right. I've had business cards made that say Chad Daniels, lots of things, not a therapist. And I hand that to him and I go, sorry. Uh, I have maybe two or three times where someone can come to me with the same thing, but
Hmm.
eventually I cannot keep giving them my empathy
Yeah.
because that's like, you only get so much
Yeah.
because pretty soon I'm going to give all my empathy away to other people, and then you're going to yell at somebody at a grocery store, and I'm not going to have any for you. And so it's like, that doesn't seem reasonable or responsible. So I'm
Hmm.
going to keep some, and I'm going to make sure that I have enough for the relationships and the people that when they come to me with something and I go, I'm not sure, I tried this worked.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, I'll look into it or I'll do it or whatever. And
Yeah.
then they actually take steps to better themselves. I have to, I don't know, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So for me, sometimes empathy is a well, and sometimes it dries up for just a little bit, and everyone has to go away, and we have to let it rain empathy to fill up the well again. Um,
Yeah.
so that's, it is a lot. It's not your responsibility just because you did the work,
Yeah.
right? Just because you went to the Pearl Jam concert doesn't mean that everyone gets to come to you with fucking questions about Pearl Jam. That's not how that works. It's like, well, I did it for
Yeah.
me. It was fun. I
Yeah.
got a lot out of it. You should go see Pearl Jam.
That's a fun comparison for therapy. I love it. Yeah. And I don't know, like, if the person you're talking about, the person who wrote in, if this person is coming to you with the same shit over and over, that is really hard to have empathy. The person in my life I'm thinking of, it's not necessarily the same problem over and over, but it's just like, oh, like you go through some hard things and having a therapist would be really helpful. And you say you want to, but then you never do. So that's the part that gets frustrating for me. But yeah, you get to decide how much you let that person in. If they really are just coming to you with the same problem over and over, it isn't your responsibility to fix it. So
Did you use this person's
yeah.
name?
No.
Okay, so whoever's writing in, let me just
They
say,
they signed off as the emotional ninja.
oh, so emotional ninja. Why don't you remind your friends that you're not bound by any sort of law? You can tell everybody what they're telling you. That's what I would do. So be like, listen,
Mm.
the more you tell me this shit, I'm telling everybody. You know who can't? A fucking therapist. So why don't you take your shit that you don't want anyone to know about and go to someone who's legally bound to not tell anyone? I'm just throwing out whatever's coming in my head right.
Instill fear.
I
Instill
know
fear.
that they're not always the best ideas.
Well, we hope that helps. Thank you for writing in.
No
And
way it did, but we
no,
hope it did.
pretendproblemspodcast@gmail.com if you want to write in about something. And if you are one of our patrons, you know that we will have a full bonus episode coming out this week.
Yep.
It won't be out today. I think we're going to record it today, and then it will be out either tomorrow or Friday. So if you are part of the $10 tier, where you get not only the 2 mini bonus episodes a month, but the one full bonus one where we answer even more listener questions, that will be coming out tomorrow or Friday. So keep your eyes open for that. You will get a notification, obviously. But yeah, come join Patreon, patreon.com/pretend problems to get more bonus stuff.
Yeah. And if you do come, I hope it tastes like Red Bull.
Mm.
Okay.
All right, guys. Bye.